Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of Psych Talks with Teachers. And I'm your host, Ms. Basha, Director at ICHAS and ICHAS Support Foundation. And today we have with us Ms. Amruta Sahasrabuddhe. Hope I am pronouncing it correct, to talk about the importance of statistics in psychology. I would quickly like to introduce our organization, ICHAS, which is an organization dedicated to behavioral mental growth for individuals from all areas of society through education, intervention, and guidance. Our institution is based on a very solid value system of quality and philosophy of positive psychology, wherein we believe therapy is not about focusing on a weakness, but it is about helping people find and apply their strength. And before I move ahead, I would also like to mention our MHP challenge, which is it a mental health practitioner challenge, an initiative by mental health practitioners requesting people to seek help before it's too late. And I'm going to also request all of you who are going to watch us today live on Facebook on this platform. If you have any kind of questions with regards to statistics in importance of statistics in psychology, do comment and ask questions. We have an expert out here to talk about it. And you can also start a watch party on Facebook so that your friends and family can benefit out of the session. A little bit about Amrita. She has completed a master's in industrial and organizational psychology and also holds a diploma in counseling psychology. She is an assistant professor in psychology at Nagindas Khandwala College in Mumbai. Those of you who are not from Mumbai, it's in this college is based in Mumbai, and she's currently teaching subjects like psychological testing and statistics, fundamentals of psychology, development psychology, and counseling psychology. So, a very warm welcome to you, Amrita. Um, and here, the platform is all yours. You can start if you want to give your brief introduction about yourself, and you can go ahead with the question.
Thank you, Misbah. I must say, indeed, it's a lovely opportunity to interact with students and others once again after this whole episode of what is going on around. It's actually a good opportunity for me also to refresh some of the concepts which I used to teach and I still teach in college. So, hi everyone. My name is Amruta, and as Misbah has already told you all, I am currently an assistant professor in psychology at Nagindas Khandwala College, and I am like she already told you. Along with this paper of testing and statistics, I am teaching other papers as well, like developmental psychology, fundamentals of psychology, and counseling psychology. So today we have met here. So first of all, let me admit I really like this idea of having conversation with teachers. So it may help and it may give students a ray of hope in terms of certain unwanted fears which they may have about certain subjects. So I'm sure it will.
Right.
I mean, I'm hoping sincerely that it will help them a lot. So let me start by introducing my subject first, the paper for which I am here today. So this paper, since I have been a student of Mumbai University, I have taught the syllabus of Mumbai University, and now we have become an autonomous college, so we have a syllabus of our own.
Mm-hmm.
As far as this paper is concerned, there are variations in different universities in terms of what all topics they include. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on an average, I mean, to sum it up, the paper is known as psychological testing and statistics. So
Mm-hmm.
statistics is still a very minuscule part of this paper as far as Mumbai University is concerned. Other universities,
Mm-hmm.
they have a lot more weightage given to statistics. So even though
Okay.
the topic of today is statistics in psychology, I will be touching upon some concepts from psychological testing and also very basic concepts of research methodology if anyone is interested in it, because all these things just go hand in hand. Uh,
Absolutely.
so yeah. So talking about my subject, talking about the statistics. So basically, it's basically a part of each and every subject, especially each and every scientific subject. Any subject that makes use of numbers, that makes use of data, it cannot function without statistics. So it's to
Right.
put it very simply, it's a science of collecting, organizing, evaluating, and presenting data. So it starts right from which methods to use to collect data, to how to present it in the forms of graphs and different manners in which you can use. So
Mm-hmm.
like I told you, every field which has got numbers in any format, whether it's a physical science or a social science, statistical measurement is a very inherent part of it. So psychology is no exception. when we call psychology an empirical science, so what does the word empirical means? Whenever you have certain theories and concepts to be tested, you have certain very standardized measurements in order to test your hypothesis, and then you can decide whether it is proven or discarded. So this particular mechanism is provided by statistics. So let's say, for example, when you want to generalize a finding from a theory, we have a statistical concept called as the extent to which you can generalize it. In other words, how much is the probability of error in that particular generalization. So these kind of generalizations are not possible without the use of statistics.
Okay. Uh, Amrita, I think I've lost you. Okay, I think she's gotten logged out of the video, but I'm sure she will join us soon. And let's say a quick hi to all of you who are there. Hi, Pari. Hi, Sanjana. And I'm looking forward for people to join, those who are joining us live on this Psych Talk. And today's topic being importance of statistics in psychology. And I think she will join us soon, right? Um, so yeah, do write in your questions if you have anything to do with the subject, any doubts or queries or questions, any fears for that matter with respect to statistics, you know. मतलब मुझे अगर बोला जाता था statistics, I was like, okay, when are we getting done with this? So अभी तक वो actually पीछा छूटा नहीं है मेरा statistics से, but yeah, I think she's given a very interesting take on statistics, and I'm sure a lot of other questions would be there that we
Yes.
can ask. Amrita, just 1 second. You will be visible on screen in a moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's back, guys, and we can continue
Sorry,
from
it's
where.
raining
That's
here,
okay.
so a little bit of connectivity issues.
Absolutely no problem.
Yeah.
So we can continue
Yeah.
from where we left,
Yeah.
right? So you were talking
So yeah, that's about it. So I was just saying, yeah.
about importance of statistics. Can you tell us how important is statistics in psychology per se?
Yes, sure. So, as I told you, psychology is no exception to these sciences which use numbers. So, that is the first point which I already said. Is for some come as a surprise that a technical paper being a part of a social science. So, when you're graduating
Right.
in a social science, you have a technical paper as well, an entire paper. So, as I mentioned you earlier, since psychology is important to understand these basic concepts of statistics and apply them. Also, many universities have a paper called as practicals in cognitive psychology. So practicals is one paper where research methodology and statistics play a very important role. So it's
Mm-hmm.
important not only in terms of the one paper that that they have to clear, but it plays a very major role in terms of their practical paper as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to pursue any career in psychology after graduation, barring very few, uh, statistics आपका पीछा नहीं छोड़ेगा. It's going to be an inseparable part of it.
I was
So
just
it's
telling them
important.
when you had logged out. Sorry, I was just telling them कि ये statistics तो पीछे अभी तक नहीं छोड़ रहा है. मतलब it's still there. मैं सोच रही थी कि हाँ भाई 12th खत्म हुआ या ये TY खत्म हुआ तो उसके बाद, but no, it's still there, and we learn to adapt to it.
As you
Right.
said, I think when you can't escape, you learn to adapt. So there's the
Absolutely.
same point which I wanted to make importance in just one line. You may like it, you may hate it, but you can't escape it. You can't ignore it. So it's going to be there.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does play a role in, as you clearly mentioned, about collecting data, formulating it, analyzing it, interpreting it, and that's where the use of statistical entire concept of statistics comes into play, and that's why I think we have to learn as a subject or as a in the work that we are doing. Great. I will say a quick hi to all people who has joined us. There is Zeenat Pari.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. Please write down if you have any questions in the comment section. So we'll definitely ask Amrita to help us to understand it better. My next question, Amrita, would be that since statistics involves mathematical calculations, and it is important for students to learn the subject. In all, in what all psychology subjects are statistics involved?
Like you said, like I mentioned earlier, it's a part
Mm-hmm.
of you say, for example, cognitive psychology. Now, cognitive psychology is one paper which is based on extensive experimental findings, and these experimental findings cannot be complete without statistics. So it may not be a part of the calculation for these students to appear, but then when they are trying to understand the findings of that experiment, they need to apply statistical concepts. So it's also subjects like counseling psychology and abnormal psychology, where they might have a feeling that they may escape statistics, but even there the findings are based on statistics. So really there is virtually no escape. And another thing which I want to tell you is, as far as calculations are concerned, it's only, at least in Mumbai University, which I have studied, currently the syllabus of our college, and I'm sure of many, calculation is very minuscule part of this paper.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there are some other colleges which almost give as much as 50% weightage to calculations. But
Okay.
another is, it makes this paper very scoring.
Hmm. Yeah.
So if you
Right.
just change the approach, I think it might solve a lot of problems.
I am sure that's a very adding point to gaining good marks. I think with respect in especially in a subjects in a stream where there are mostly सारे theory papers होते हैं mostly, right? And they are getting chance to
Yes,
have
yes,
one
yes.
practical paper which helps you to score more. And yeah, obviously your perception towards it should change. And I'm hoping and I'm wishing that after Amrita is clarifying all the doubts, and later on when she shares certain tricks and tips to make the subject very happening for you or very easy for you, then I'm sure it will not be challenging and it will be easier to adapt to the subject. So, Amrita, next question would be that how is psychological statistics different from other statistics?
See, the thing is, in any science or any field, statistics usually comes as an aid. So unless and until you are doing some major in the core subject of statistics, it's not. For example, there are many concepts in statistics. For example, let's take an example of reliability. Now,
Hmm.
reliability, as important it is in psychological test, I'm sure it is important for any other variable which you are trying to measure. Or let's take an
Hmm.
example of certain differential statistical tests which are used. For example, t-test or ANOVA.
Hmm.
These are not methods which are discovered for psychology. Psychology actually adopts or takes this concept from statistics and research methodology and uses it. So it's not very different. What can be different is, of course, I mean, the weightage which, like I told you, which can be given to that. So that can be different. But apart from that, statistical concepts are same. Every field
Mm-hmm.
uses it according to its own, its own applications. So that's about
Absolutely.
it.
Oh, great. Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, that's something that clarifies its usage. Next question that I have is, so what are the challenges as per your experience these students face who are learning psychology as a subject?
Okay. So first, I would like to start when you mentioned about mathematical calculations. Okay. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, but many students take up arts and social sciences because they want to avoid maths and numbers. They have this,
Yeah,
mainly
yeah,
because
yeah.
of the challenging experiences that they have got in school. They have this block in their mind. So when they start attending lectures, first of all, for those 4 years, there is no. I mean, when you're doing a social science,
No
there
escape.
are no calculations in picture. Suddenly, when you enter your last year and there is a whole paper which you have to clear, so it may create a block in students' mind that the thing which I was scared of, that is suddenly in front of me and I have to deal with it. So this block actually hampers a lot as far as their learning is concerned. So statistics not only include some technical terms but also calculations that you mentioned, and they may
Hmm.
range from frequency distributions to more complicated like correlations and inferential statistical calculations. So the range is like very wide depending on the syllabus. So compared to other papers, this paper is more fact based and more technical, and as a result some may find it boring. So what happens is
Okay.
when you're attending the lecture, so compared to other papers, this requires little more sustained attention and sustained efforts to understand the concept. So if students
Right.
give up after 2 3 attempts, I mean, that block is further reinforced. That
Right.
no, I mean, I can't deal with it. It's too hard to handle. So one of the important challenges which they face is this block which is there. And
Mm-hmm.
another thing is, they have many students have this tendency to compare themselves with their classmates. Let's say
Okay.
if I'm
That's
teaching them a sum, there are some
mm,
classmates who there are some students who are able to understand it in the first attempt. There are some who struggle.
right.
So what happens is later on, so rather than asking their doubts, they just might want to go in shell and be happy with it. So that can just add up to the challenges which they face. That's I
Mm-hmm.
think that block can be a very important challenge, which according to me I have seen in my students.
Right. I think I can totally relate to both the challenges that you were saying. I have actually, though I would share my experience that I had scored good marks in my 12th, I think in the maths, like 80s plus and something, but I still am like, I don't want to do it further. But no, I think it doesn't leave you, and having an open mind does help. And most importantly, what I think, Amrita, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, it's about how it is delivered by the by your professors and by your
Yes.
teachers. It makes it more interesting for students, and you very rightly said about not every individual or student takes it or grasps it in the same manner as the other. So yeah, it also depends upon individual to individual, and if you have to learn something, one might take a one try and other might take three or four try or 10 tries, but I think it's okay as far as you are able to learn it and apply it. Doesn't matter, efforts are counted and you are learning at the end of the day. Yeah. So I think
Absolutely.
absolutely. I think that's a very valid understanding. So, any tips that you have, that will help these students to make the subjects more interesting for these students while they sit in the classrooms, or while they have to do their work at home, or they are doing it in a group studies or something like that, so they can develop that
Okay.
interest towards the subject.
Yeah. So one of the important things which can generate interest in any subject is trying to relate those concepts to your own life and what relate with it. That can be
Mm-hmm.
one of the ways to make it interesting. But what happens is if you compare this paper with other papers like abnormal or counseling psychology, these are the papers which are more, they are more open to discussions, and there are a lot of concepts with which people can relate. But statistics is more like chemistry or geography, which is upfront and very fact based, and as a result it leaves very less room for discussion. So when it happens, when I'm teaching in the class, I usually tell my students that there are two sorts of why questions which I see on their face. One is like, why this theory must be like this, or why is this, and another sort of why question is why are we going through it. Like I
Why
told
this
you, there is
pain? Why this pain?
yes, yes, yes. So, like I told you, there is no answer to that. It is there. You have to deal with it. But the thing is, I tell them that it's not like it doesn't leave any room for discussion. Even I may not be aware about why this formula came up like this. It's there. It's there. It's a fact. So we have to deal with it. So,
Hmm.
like I told you, there is a limitation in terms of how interesting this subject can get. So if you can't make it interesting, you can just think of like a lesson which you may not like, but you have to take. And everything that is around us we may not like, but we have to deal with it. So, and another thing is, rather than having all this negative picture, you can just think of it as an opportunity to learn something new. So, give
Right.
it a genuine try. You may end up liking it, or you never know.
Yeah. Or maybe instead of having a negative association, try and create some positive association with it, so that it
Absolutely.
interests you further. Fair. So, what do you tell your students while when you see them with that two questions on their face? आप क्या बोलते हो उनको मतलब कुछ तो
Okay.
सपोर्टिंग स्टेटमेंट एनकरेजिंग स्टेटमेंट्स देने पड़ते होंगे ना कि हाँ भाई देख लो
Yes,
कर
yes.
लो.
So I just present them with few facts that See, this subject requires little more effort and little more attention compared to other subjects to grasp, but it's certainly not impossible. Okay, I mean, it's not that nobody with an average intelligence can't do or can't understand. It requires efforts, and you should be ready to put that much efforts. And another thing, encouraging statement, like I already mentioned, it's the most boring paper. See, calculations is one
Is
part
the
where
sorry,
nobody can
sorry,
touch you.
I didn't get you earlier. You said it's the more, or I missed on that
I repeat,
sentence.
it's the most scoring paper
Scoring
out of
paper,
all
right?
the theory subjects. Yeah, out of all the
Hmm.
theory subjects that we have got, see, calculations, the beauty of calculations is if you are right, you are right. There is no second opinion.
Right.
So
True.
it's the most objective evaluation that you can get. So these marks are very handy and very assured. So that is one of the encouraging statements. Another thing which I would like to tell students is, see, the statistics which we are studying at this level, it's very minuscule.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some droplets of an ocean that we get to deal with. So think of it in
Okay.
that way, that it's not that complicated as it looks like. Actual statisticians, the kind of data and the kind of methods that they deal with, and what we are learning, it's very, 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 very small portion in reducing anxiety which is associated with that. And another thing is, see, you don't have to fall in love with this subject, but you can certainly be friendly with it. uh, I
Like
mean,
it.
you don't really have to run away. Yeah, so all that is required is little bit perseverance and open mindedness. And another important thing which I tell my students, which I have experienced myself, I did have a block in my mind as well regarding I don't want to deal with numbers, and here I am teaching statistics. So when you are able to apply, or when you're able to understand a very technical concept, or apply a formula and solve a complicated sum, it's actually a
Hmm.
very your self-esteem. So
I, I I think
till now you might,
we just missed on the part of its actually self esteem के पहले वाला कुछ आपने कुछ बोला. I just
I,
missed on it.
yeah, I said it can be a great value addition to your self-esteem.
Absolutely. Oh,
So
you feel really
till
good when you get
till
an answer right.
yeah, 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 absolutely. So I mean, I just tell my students, when you are able to get that sum right, just look at yourself in the in the mirror. The way your expressions pop up, it's a really good thing to think about yourself, that I can deal with numbers. So it can and it has helped me a lot in when I started teaching. It helps a lot. And as any other science, in statistics, complex concepts are built on the simpler ones. So it's important
Hmm.
that you learn the simple concepts first, get them clarified, and then try and apply the complicated ones. So
Okay.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
that
think
should
that
be.
makes sense. Yeah, that should make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that it's easier also to make the base stronger before going for the advanced levels, right? So, any kind of
Yes, absolutely.
let me see if we have any questions. So far, I think every
Yes.
लगता है सबको statistics बहुत अच्छे से आता है किसी का कोई question नहीं आया है अभी तक. I think everybody is well versed with statistics. Okay, so my questions
Either
I
well
have.
versed or
Huh? I couldn't hear you.
either well versed or avoidant, can be anything.
It could be either of it. No, but I'm sure the audience would be there
Yeah.
to ask us questions if they have anything related to
Yeah.
importance of statistics in psychology. So my next question is that Amrita, that what are the kind of tips you would give to students with respect to the exams? So हमने general में तो subject कैसे
Okay.
पढ़ना है वो बात कर ली है. But
Hmm.
specifically for exams, what would be
Hmm.
your recommendation or your pointers or tips?
Yeah. So first and thing, like I already mentioned earlier, that get your basic concepts clarified. It may take a
Mhm.
little time, but don't be hesitant to go and ask your teachers, get your doubts clarified. So uh, usually what happens is, when these doubts are still there, you, rather than doubting, you start doubting yourself rather than doubting that particular concept. So remove that self doubt, get your basics clarified. Since calculations are important part of it, and most scoring part of it, I would like to tell students that grab every single mark that is dedicated to numbers, and it's only possible with practice. So try and solve as many sums as you can. You can create your own sums using some prototypes, and make sure that you never lose a single mark which is dedicated to calculation. So these marks are
Mm-hmm.
assured. So when I was a student, I used to rely a lot on writing down stuff for understanding it better. So you may have your own set of memorizing tools, or mnemonics as we call them. So
Right.
you may prefer creating your own question and answers, or jotting down important points, or summarizing certain complicated concepts in your own words, which will help in simplifying it. Another thing is, have a very clear idea about the format of your question paper. So what happens is, it saves a lot of surprises and anxiety which happens on the day of the exam. And
Okay.
you can also decide as to how much weightage is given to each chapter, and you can manage your time accordingly, how much time and effort you should dedicate to each chapter. So
Mm-hmm.
will be it's better to have it clarified. And another thing is, have a, like you said, have a positive approach towards looking at this paper. So when you start studying and you label the paper as the most scariest, the most boring, and the most useless, so naturally you approach your study with that mindset, and it will just spoil the whole picture. Just accept the fact that it's going to remain, it in a positive way. So I think that will help a lot. And lastly, think of it as a challenge which you can overcome. So your willingness and
Mm-hmm.
conviction, it matters a lot, and ultimately it's you who is going to clear the paper. It's not about statistics, it's about you. So have
Mm-hmm.
have that thing in mind.
Mm-hmm. I think that's very well put across. So, also with respect to what Amrita said, that having a positive mindset, or maybe having a natural or a open approach towards the subject, you can also develop that if you don't have. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि अभी नहीं है, अभी नेगेटिव अप्रोच है, या कोई भी कोई भी रिलेशनशिप नहीं है उस सब्जेक्ट के साथ, बट यू कैन develop that positive approach, or that use, there are certain techniques from our psychology field only, and other modalities which can help you to develop that approach, or motivation, or anchor those positive feelings towards the subject. So it can be very well done. You can
Absolutely.
definitely seek help of a coach, or a psychotherapist, or a mental health practitioner if you're finding it really difficult to go ahead with the subject, or deal with the subject, or work with the subject. I won't say deal, but working would be better, that you have to work with the subject. At the end of the day, it helps you to score marks, and you know that it has its application in this field. If you have chosen the field, might as well you be well versed with what is being provided, right? I think, Amruta, that helps,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
True,
So
true. Very well. Yes.
right. So my next question is, what would be the importance of statistical reasoning during psychological diagnosis, if you shed some light
Okay.
on that?
So yeah, sure. So psychological diagnosis. So if we are thinking in terms of clinical diagnosis, or a diagnosis which is done in counseling,
Mm-hmm.
usually these diagnosis, like I told you, the findings of any this thing are based on statistics. So let us say, for example, statistics can help you in realizing, let's say, for example, how common or rare certain disorders are, or certain diagnosis is. So let's say, for
Hmm.
example, I would like to quote an example. If you know phobia, now phobia
Right.
is one such disorder which is among the most common disorders.
Mm-hmm.
So and also one of the disorders which is one of the easiest one to treat. So statistics can actually helps in deciding how common, or how not so disorder is. You can actually also go and seek for the success rate of various therapies which are used in terms of
Wow.
that particular diagnosis. Yeah, and you can decide upon that. So that can help a
Oh,
lot.
wow. It was a very different way to see how statistics is helping with phobia. मतलब वो connection कभी सोचा नहीं था. I mean, there's something that's really a beautiful point that she's put across, to that how important it is as a subject with these disorders also. Lovely. So, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? How do they do it with respect
Uh,
to phobias or any other disorders?
yeah. So see, I have not been practicing counseling, so I mean I won't be able to talk about how people do it, but I might want to share my opinion about how it can be done.
Sure, sure.
So like I told you, there are so there are certain diagnoses, there are certain things which can be relatively rare compared to others. You statistics can help you in also deciding about whether you are the right person to help that person, whether you
Mhm.
are possessing that authority or not. If not, you may choose to refer the person to somebody else. And again, like I told you, let's say for example for phobia, it has been found out that behavioral therapies or cognitive behavioral therapies help a lot compared to any other therapy. So how am I talking
Mhm.
so authoritatively about it? Because there are statistical findings which are backing it. So
Mhm.
let's say for standard to compare, the percentage of phobic patients or clients who have been helped with CBT compared to certain patients who are dealing with, let's say for example, hypnosis or any other therapy for that matter. So
Uh,
these numbers present your yeah
yeah, yeah. I just missed on the points that you said. I think the voice cracking.
yeah.
Can you just repeat
So
the
I would
last
just
two
like to
sentences?
quote an example.
Hmm.
So, as I was saying, you can compare, let's say, for example, phobia. How many patients, let's say, for example, were helped using CBT effectively compared to any other therapy? If
Mm-hmm.
you are a practitioner in CBT, you can very well take that decision, and that I would like to go ahead with that. In fact, when I was teaching counseling, I was teaching therapies to students. We came across
Mm-hmm.
a counseling institute, and it was an institute for behavioral sciences, applied behavioral
Mm-hmm.
sciences, and they
Mm-hmm.
actually presented with strong numbers. They presented with percentages of clients who were
Mm-hmm.
helped using certain therapies compared to others. So statistics is
Mm-hmm.
helping in this field as well,
Yeah.
in terms of gathering proof for what exactly works for different set of disorders.
Absolutely. So I would also like to add to that point that you said that with specifically with theories in with the statistical data in place with respect to phobias, uh, CBT and other modalities, behavioral modalities have been proven effective. Also, since we are an organization, we have a very integrated approach while working with the client, the person-centric approach, and we are combining three or four modalities together in which there is CBT, there is hypnosis, there is NLP techniques. And it has, I mean, we would like, I can personally vouch for it that we have seen results with phobia in minimum one session actually. Maximum, to
Oh,
baat ki baat hai, matlab we have seen results. So obviously we do have certain cases to back it up. There are techniques which are
lovely.
fast, that are known, that are a little faster to what possibly might be taking a little longer with other modalities, but there are. So it's just an add-on point for people to understand that because यहाँ पे भी research किया गया है, यहाँ पे भी तुम्हारे पास in hand data है, and what you are talking about is that is also great, but it also definitely depends upon the practitioner. कि प्रैक्टिशनर जैसे हम
Absolutely.
प्रैक्टिशनर हैं तो हमारे मोडालिटीज हम तीन चार मोडालिटीज इंटीग्रेट करके प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं कोई अगर खाली सीबीटी का प्रैक्टिशनर है तो मे बी दे विल डू इट विद दैट so it completely depends upon how your therapist or your psychotherapist is going about it. Absolutely, I think I completely
Yes, true.
so yeah, I think that gives a lot of understanding of importance of statistical reasoning during psychological diagnosis. It was I think the question is also good, and I got a very lovely answer from you, Amrita.
Can
The
I
next
add something to it as well?
sure, sure, sure. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So as the question was about statistical reasoning, there are important concepts. Now, usually
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis is reached on the basis of some standardized psychological tests.
Hmm.
So let's say, for example, if the counselor is deciding upon which test to be used. Now, let's say
Mm-hmm.
using many different tests. I'm sure there are many available in the market. So when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to deciding upon which test to be used, there are important standards. It's usually called as psychometric soundness. So you may have to go and check for reliability and validity and standardization procedures which are used on those tests. Now all
Right,
these things come from statistics. So if you have
right.
this fundamental understanding about these concepts, I think it will help you in a better diagnosis by choosing a better test and choosing a better evaluation standard.
एब्सोल्युटली आई थिंक आई कंप्लीटली सेकंड दोस थॉट्स मतलब पहले जब भी हम देखते भी थे पॉसिबली अर्लियर व्हेन वी आर अर्लियर लर्निंग स्टैटिस्टिक्स हम मुझे समझ में नहीं आता था कि रिलायबिलिटी का क्या इंपॉर्टेंस होता है या वैलिडिटी का क्या इंपॉर्टेंस होता है आई थिंक लेटर ऑन I think I understand that what is the importance of it in any kind of testing and why we are learning it also for that matter. So yeah, the base knowledge is very important. That's what I would also
Yes.
uh, agree upon completely. Anything else that you have with respect to that question that you want to add?
No, no, we can move on.
We can move on. Okay, great. So there is other question that I have. What are the resources available? This is in consideration with students who are not good with maths or with statistics. आप जो भी
Okay.
number वाली चीज बोल लो. So what are the resources would you say would be available to them?
See, if you see now, in this virtual world, the resources are limitless. I mean, I still believe that the first and foremost important resource is your teacher. So,
Absolutely.
see, understand one thing that, a teacher is dealing with students at a time. And if everyone is having a different pace of understanding it, and she has to cover the syllabus, so she may just go on by finishing that summer calculation. But if at all you feel that you have not understood, and if she's not allowing to interrupt in the class, please go and contact her later on and tell the teacher that you're finding this difficult. It may happen that even if she explains again, understand, I'm sure there are numerous platforms online which can actually help you with basics of maths and basics of calculations. And another important thing is, rather than hunting for resources, I think once you have understood the concept, the key to calculation is practice.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, even if you are learning it online, don't have a habit that you once and then you feel okay, now I'm all fine with it, I know everything. Key to mathematics is practice, so keep doing that.
Absolutely. I think that's a very important point, practice. Next question that I have, Amrita, is what are the basic tools or equations or charts that one can always rely upon or keep it handy while using, I think, statistics? That's what we mean. Or are there anything of that sort, or is it, contextual, possibly, if I say?
It is okay. So I just take the question as which are normally used in statistics, whether it's basics or
Mhm,
a little advanced ones. So
mhm,
I will just divide that into two different types. So firstly, if you're asking me about what are the different equations which are used in statistics, so in statistics we have a basic division called as descriptive and inferential. So descriptive statistics is all about describing the data at hand that you have got. So let's say, for example, you have frequency distributions, you have a mean median mode, which are central tendency. Then there are measures of dispersion or variability, which are like range to QD to percentile and all of those sorts. So these are those tools which try to describe the data. Even correlation is a form of that. If you go a little bit
okay.
advanced, so whatever data you have, you would like to generalize your findings to the the population which is outside of your sample. So for
Mm-hmm,
this reason, we have a branch called as inferential statistic.
mm-hmm,
So inferential statistic, told you, generalizing the data. So depending upon what kind of research or what kind of theory you are having at hand, it can be different. For example, we have t-test, we have ANOVA, we have regression, we have correlation. So ranging from these, even in ANOVA there are numerous types. But the point
right.
is, if you're talking about graduation level, you don't really have those complex things to be calculated. At least you should have an understanding of it, but calculation part you don't really go up to to that level. Also another thing is, so let's say for study, and if you have some statistics at hand, certain basic things you may need to understand. So like how reliability is expressed with numbers. So it's usually a number from 0 to 1, and the closer it
Hmm,
is to 1, the more reliable the test is. So these
right.
are certain, I think, handy understandings which
Yes.
can help you while you're reading something. Another thing is, if you're asking in terms of presentation of data, so you have different types of graphs. So ranging from pie charts to polygons to histograms to scatter plots. So these are different types of. So you need to understand how to interpret the graph and how to go about it.
Absolutely. I think that very well makes sense about these smaller tips or tricks, which makes it easier for you to apply the
Yes,
subject as well as learn it. Interesting. Um,
absolutely.
so my I think one more question that I have is statistics all about calculation or is there more to it also? I don't know why I'm asking this question, but I do have this question.
Okay. See, it's not all about calculations, but calculation is an inseparable part of it. See, so like I told you, it's about organizing, collecting, evaluating, and presenting data. So data is what? Data is more often than not it's numbers. So it will certainly involve calculations, but it's not all. So if you have a syllabus in whichever you will come across a lot of technical terms along with along with calculations and everything. So in fact, I would say in Mumbai University and many other universities, calculation part is very less. Uh, Everything else that they have is more with technical terms that have to be understood. And if you
Mhm.
have this blog about maths, it's a very small part of it. So you may as well get over it.
I think it makes sense. So, lovely. I think there are some questions from the audience. We'll take it up because Mera question bank, I think
Sure.
I'm almost exhausted on it. So, um, there is a question from Akanksha. Akanksha, I think, yeah. Is statistics used in counseling? I think she has answered that. You want to throw some light on it, Amrita?
I think, yeah. So, as I understand these questions, maybe, if people have decided that they will choose counseling psychology as their master's subject. So, if
Mm-hmm.
she's asking that, will that be, it will be a part of your first year at least,
Right.
because now there it comes in the form of a paper called as research methodology.
Mm-hmm.
Different universities may have different names, but the
Mm-hmm.
paper will be there. So if it's a question relating to is there an escape after graduation, so no, escape is not there. And in terms of practicing counseling, I think I've already answered the question that you may not come across. See, it's always relative. So somebody who is working in the field of psychological testing, he will definitely deal with more statistics compared to someone who's in counseling. But
Right.
I mean, I'm sure it will come in some or the other way. So it will be there.
Okay, Akanksha, I hope that answers your question. Then there's a question from Sanjana asking that you had mentioned earlier about some protocols. Can you share some of it? I I do not
I'm
know
sorry, I
the
didn't
correct.
get what.
I
No,
think
no, what
earlier. I think
protocol? I didn't get.
okay. So she's asked that earlier you had mentioned about some protocols, and can you share some of it? Sanjana, if you could elaborate further more on the question, then I can take it up with her because I'm just trying to understand the link between what was said earlier in the context. If you could share that, I will definitely take up that question later on. There's a question from Minakshi asking test why t-test is used in parametric.
It's a parametric test. So parametric test is the one which is used when, first of all, let me tell you about t-test. So it's
Hmm.
a test which is used. It's an inferential statistical test, and
Right.
it is used when your independent variable has got two levels. If it's
Hmm.
more than two levels, then there are other tests which can be used. Test because it deals with now I hope these concepts are clear that it's used with a scale of measurement called as ratio scale. So anything that can be used on ratio scale, a parametric test is used. So hence it's a t-test. I
Okay,
mean, it's a
Meenakshi,
parametric test.
parametric test. That's why t-test is a parametric test. She's given a very
Yes.
scientific understanding and easier understanding of the why it is parametric uh, concept. So there's one more question that comes from Akanksha itself that can I do okay, can I do online course for practitioner? Would you need would what should we need qualification for practitioner? I'm a PhD in psychology. I think, Akanksha, I'm going to take up that question a little later once we are done with a more relevant question with the subject of statistics, and then I will get back to that question of yours. Please be around. Coming back to, there's a question from Meenakshi itself, that though parametric tests are based on population, why t-test, which is based on sample, is an example of parametric test? Okay, she is quite hooked on to parametric test.
Yeah, so no, as I told you already, any variable which we measure on a ratio scale. So, like, I would like to elaborate a little more on the ratio scale part.
Sure.
So, it's that scale of measurement which starts from like it has the presence of an absolute zero. So, let's say, for example, if I have set a research study and I'm measuring, let's say, for example, a number of people who are affected by the dependent variable and number of people who are not affected by the dependent variable. Now this number, it can start from zero. There can be zero people affected by that independent variable. So ratio scale and even interval scale measurement may, and any see t test, the her question is if it's a sample test. Even though it's a sample test, because it's an inferential test, we would like to generalize that finding with the population from where the sample was drawn. So the
Mhm.
extent to which it can be generalized. So to answer that question, t-test is used.
Okay. Actually, I hope this answers your question. And there's a question from Sanjana, another one, that how do we remember technical terms in statistics? दैट्स अ वेरी वैलिड क्वेश्चन है। फिर मैं भी भूल जाती थी मुझे जब करना रहता था तो, क्योंकि शायद मुझे कॉन्सेप्ट पता है पर उसका नाम याद नहीं रहता है। सो डू यू हैव एनी ट्रिक्स और
I think,
सजेशंस ऑन दैट?
yes. So when I was a student, like I told you, I used to write down. It used to like really boost my confidence when I have, something written in my handwriting. So that used to help me in memorizing a lot. And then there are other mnemonics which I told you, like using acronyms or, making the concept little more easier from your own perspective. It can be different for different people. So you may choose some tricks which you are using for other subjects and try if you can. And another advantage of technical terms is that they are very unique.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there is very little scope of confusing them with something else. So that uniqueness might as well help you in remembering them better.
Right. I think writing down is, it's very recommended uh, idea by a lot of people when you're studying. Uh, so maybe you can try that. This is one more question that's there. Um, that's from Ashwini, asking how can we enhance our testing skills being in industrial psychology? Because if we work as industrial psychologists, we are unable to use much of testing, especially in Indian setting. That's an interesting
Okay.
question.
Yeah, true. So, see, in organizations, what happens is many a times for things like performance appraisal and for decisions about hiring and promoting people, uh, over there, I think, statistics and testing knowledge of these can help you a lot. So the thing which I told you about choosing certain tests over the others, like in case of diagnosis, it can also be the case in case of testing in industries as well. So you might decide to choose upon, so for example, there are certain tests which meant for industry. So let's say, for example, some tests which are conducive for group testing. So if you are keeping a screening, so for screening procedure, group testing is always helpful. But
Mm-hmm.
if you really want to, take a decision about promoting someone or, giving somebody a really good post, then for that you may need one tools rather than only giving a paper pencil test to that person. So
Right.
here you can help a lot. And, in India, as she rightly pointed out, the guidelines for using tests are very ambiguous. I mean, not many people are, and many authorities are concerned about what types of tests are used and how they are implemented. But nevertheless, make sure that you take that utmost care in terms of selecting the test. So make
Can you
sure that
later?
your test is reliable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll ask later on.
Yeah. So Yeah, so make sure that your test is reliable, valid. And another thing is, see, if you are conducting the test on Indian population, make sure that the norms which are used are at least somewhere similar. So if you
Mhm.
get a test developed in Indian setting, nothing like it. But if not, and
Mm.
also use a test which is recent. So don't use a test which was used in developed in 1980s and 1970s. Use a test at least developed recently. So that makes sure that you are able to bridge that gap.
Actually, very well pointed out, Amrita, because me, I have actually been from an HR background earlier, down the, early in my career. So I used to not understand, or I used to find it little confusing at that point of time with the kind of tests that were given to candidates while we were, shortlisting, or maybe to a group of people who had applied. So yeah, that part of where that guidelines is very ambiguous or missing completely is something that needs to be taken into consideration. And how do so when you suggested her that that for group there are certain kind of tests that they can use, and for individual, like in scenario of promotion, can you give an example for one for both of them if you have anything handy on it?
Mm, see, for group testing, now it depends upon what kind of industry it is. Completely
Hmm.
depends upon that. So let us say, for example, now I don't really have the names of the test, but I can give you variables which can be measured in a group setting and in individual
Okay.
settings. So if it's about let's say, for example, for their general anxiety level, or maybe their general interest level in what your company is doing, so you can have a group screening. But if you want to, let's say, tap their leadership skills, so who can emerge as a better leader compared to others, so you may go for an individual type of a test where there will be more of, you will not only rely on the score of a test. You will take into consideration, let's say, for example, you might rely on behavioral observation of that person, or maybe
Hmm.
take opinions of others about him, in terms of what experiences they have got. So depending upon what sort of industry it is, and also depending upon what is the variable that you're trying to measure, so
Very well.
that can be it.
Very well. Very well. Yeah, that makes sense completely. Let me see if we have further more questions. I think, Ashwini, that makes sense to what Amrita has already answered. I'll just check if there's anything. So I haven't yet gotten back. Sanjana has not gotten back to us yet. I think she would be if she's around. Sanjana, whatever you were talking on the protocols, please let us know. If we can elaborate further, we can take it up before we are closer to the session end. Then, and I think Akansha, you had a question regarding our course. So I think in the chat, Nitin has answered you regarding, he's given you the details of the course, and you can definitely visit the website and on chp.ichas.com and check the integrated comprehensive four-level modules, levels of cognitive hypnotic coaching and psychotherapy that we offer, and see how it suits you. And definitely, if you have any questions on that, you can let us know. So let me come back to Amrita and ask her. So I don't think there are any other further questions that are left, but the last question of mine would be, Amrita, that what would be your one message for the young or the budding psychologist or students that you would like to give?
Okay. Just one message which I would like to give. See, it's a subject which is very, very, very close to human behavior. So, people have a different perspective of looking at somebody who is a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them might have come across like this, read my face and,
हाँ हाँ, that's the
tell
very
me what's
common
going on
वाला
in
I
my mind.
think, बहुत common वाला
Yeah,
है वो तो.
yeah. So people have very different conception and perspectives of looking at psychologists. But I just would like to tell them that the word psychologist, the profession, comes with a lot of responsibilities. So
Absolutely
we have a responsibility of doing good, but if we are not able to do good, at least avoiding harm. So
true.
it's a very, very important part. So I would like to tell them, read and just grow in whatever whichever career of psychology that you have chosen. And please make sure that you are very well informed about expressing your opinion or giving your expertise to anyone about anything. So
True, true.
uh, so it's a scientific subject and we should stick to it.
Absolutely. I think after today's conversation, I think people would have a breather on at least giving it an open uh, eye or mind
Yes,
towards the
I hope
subject.
so.
Yeah. So, any can you do you have any any good experience that you would like to share with your journey of as a professor or as a practitioner of psychology or for statistics for that matter? Anything which you feel that that will help the people to connect to the subject of psychology or to statistics for that matter?
So I would just share my personal experience. Like I told you, never ever I thought that I will be teaching statistics and mathematics. Uh, Absolutely, because I was the one who avoided maths, and that is why I took up arts and ended up doing psychology. But when I joined this college and when I was told that this is what you are supposed to teach, of course there was no turning back. And so when you
Right.
know there is no turning back, you have to put on understanding this subject before I could start teaching. So I think that's an experience which speaks for itself. That when you know that you have to work on it, just give your 100%. So, and I have
Absolutely.
seen this with my students as well, like I told you, that it's a different pleasure that when they are able to. So that pleasure of is of overcoming fear. What was blocking
Yes.
me suddenly, the doors are open, and it gives you a lot of pleasure when you see that expressions on your student's face. So, and I get that every year. So I consider myself
I'm
fortunate.
sorry. It's a recurring experience and it's wonderful experience, to see yourself
Yes,
or maybe your students
yes,
getting encouraged with the kind of results that they get when they are finding out, resolving the sums or doing the practice or that's lovely. That's really insightful, and that's like first-hand experience of a professor coming from a professor. I'm sure that it also helps you to get that you know that confidence and that openness to approach it. And if you do not have, as I told you earlier, you can definitely seek help on that, so that your mental and emotional state helps you to look at the subject in a more different manner, in a more better manner, in an open manner, right? So I think we are
absolutely.
almost nearing of to the end of the session, and before I sign off, a very thank you so much, Amrita, for such a wonderful, especially very wonderful. I would say I don't know whether it's the word like that, but it was. It made me, though I am past that studying of statistics, but it really made me feel good about कि हाँ भाई ठीक है, अगर आगे फ्यूचर में आ गया वापस से तो I am all to it, open to it. Thank you so much for a wonderful insight and about the subject. I'm sure your tips and your knowledge has helped our viewers to look at the subject in a different manner. And thank you for all the time. And thank you everybody who's been online with us today for being a lovely audience and for all your questions. And before I end, a quick that next week I'm going to see you again. That is in the fifth episode, which is on the 31st of July. So next Friday, again at 7:30, and we have a topic which is going to be industrial psychology. So stay tuned for the next Friday. Coming Friday at 7:30, industrial psychology would be the subject that we'll have another expert on, like we had one today. And once again, a lovely evening, good night, happy weekend, and take care. Stay safe. Thank you, Amrita, once again, and thank you
Thank you
everybody
so much.
watching us.
Thank you so much for the support.
And before I go offline, I would also like to reiterate my promise of the mental health, visit a mental health practitioner. So I would like to reiterate that and say to myself as well as to all of you that do not wait for things to worsen up for you. When you think that things are getting or issues are getting out of control, at an emotional or a mental level, if you're feeling discomfort or anything, or if I feel that, I'm definitely going to consult a mental health practitioner. And I would also request if Amrita could also take up the mental health practitioner challenge, being from the similar field that we are. Um, and people who would like to, we actually have an entire separate page for it. Visit Mental Health Practitioner Challenge on the ICHA's website. You can register yourself, you can put in your comments, you can put in your videos, tag us on your videos, or howsoever try to reach the audience, the people as much as possible as a mental health care practitioner, or somebody who is ready as a layperson to promise that if they face any issues in their life at an emotional mental level, they will look for a mental health practitioner to seek help. So thank you so much, everybody. Signing off and see you next week. Thank you, Amrita, once again.